Hey, so I've shared this personal project before, and I just wanted to give some updates on the progress that's happening. So, there were some limitations when I was programming everything on a web server for a website. In particular, you couldn't run local files on your computer, and for my work, there's a lot of things that I run locally or on shared drives that I just couldn't access through the web browser. So I recreated the whole program in Python. There's been some updates to the UI, but I'm working on um, redoing the whole UI using another combination of Python packages. Um, but this kind of gives some updates of some new features since the last time I've shared the project. If you didn't see it the first time, it's called Pathfinder. It's on my YouTube channel, and I think I posted it on LinkedIn and maybe a couple of other places. Um, and it's got a little bit different look here. So this plus adds a node, and when you click a node, you actually get all these options. So you can see that, like, if you want to make this visible, you just click it. Here's the checkbox, status. So you could use this to create a to-do list, and maybe you have tasks, and this task, task A, blocks maybe task B. And then you can change this to like in progress or done. And then when this is done, this is now in progress or something. Um, so I've got some more systems to build out for that, but this would work as a to-do list. And I now have tags, so you can click here and go to this sort of tag manager. So maybe I could put like priority is high, and then I don't know what else to put on here. I'll put taco or something. Okay. Oops. Oh yeah. Okay. So it's by line. Sorry, I haven't been tagging things for a while. So priority high and then taco. Okay, set. So now it's got two tags, and I'll put this one pointed at that one. Um, let's see what else we've got inside of these tools. Oh, there's some that I want to get to later. So if you saw earlier, so I've got these edges still. You can slide around where the text is at. You can tag the edges, hide them. But I don't really want to do that. Oh, unhide. It's like, where do I do that? Task A, go to, let's say task C, I guess. We'll call this task C. And we can have go to task B. We had this choose your own adventure sort of thing before, but there were all these buttons at the top in the last version, and you had to click through these buttons and then like reset the settings and so on. Now it's actually done just based on the node. So if I want to start at this node as my root node, I select one node and hit CYOA, and it says step through. Oh, and now there's actually hotkeys too, so I could do it through hotkeys, but I'll just do it on buttons. So like for example, I can hit like Shift T to remove the title, bring that back. I don't have to click anything. Here's the text. So whenever I'm not selected on it, it just shows a little preview of it. But I could say, I don't know, this is not such an important task, but needs to be done soon so that you can do task C. Okay, you see, you don't really see it. It's got scroll bars. I guess if you wanted to scroll, or if you click on it, it's going to just open up in a large window. And I can maybe press enter here or something, so it's all on one. And it's all visible in the box. Now if I hit step through, I get this window. This says task A. This is not such an important task to be done, but you can go to task C, and let's go to task C. Let's show the status because it wasn't revealed down here. So And now then, since task A is marked as done, I could mark it as in progress. And then I could go back, and I don't have this checked, so let me check it. You'll see it gets checked on the graph. And then I close this. So you can actually edit the graph that way. Oops, I didn't mean to disconnect this. So we've got too many things open now, so let me close out some of that stuff. And then there are new mouse options too. So I've got this drag the graph sort of mouse options. You can go to a different section and edit somewhere else. This actually controls the speed of it, so now I can scroll a lot faster. And if I can't figure out how to get back, I can hit recenter, and it's going to take me back to the origin of where I started making this. I can still, this one was there before, but I can multi-select on the nodes. Now I can click around and create nodes, so that's pretty nice. In fact, I've got a hotkey for that, so like if I click one, even if I press down, it makes a node that I'm pointed to that node, and if I press up, I get a node that's pointing to this node. And then now I have a little bit of annotation, so I can draw a box and just say, like over here, maybe I want to just label this, and I can label it with the node itself and say, this is from when I was showing hotkeys. Okay. And there is a zoom that's working. Let's see. Sort of, but not completely. So I can zoom out. I guess the idea would be if I'm not using a graph very often, I could like zoom it out and just keep it somewhere sort of out of the way. Oh, yeah, that's something that's new. So let's say that I have an edge going in both directions. So maybe this node is pointing to this node, and this node's pointing back. Before it just had like kind of a double arrow thing going on. Now it sort of offsets the arrows. So you can see both arrows. Let's see, this determines how selections go. So let's say I'm on this move tool. So whenever I click off around the graph, I would just move. And if I click this and then node and click that node, I would connect them by an edge. That's the normal mode, but maybe I want to just be able to select certain nodes. So I'll go to add and I can select this node, and this node or something. And this edge too. And so I can just add to my selection and then, well, I guess let me reselect that. And then maybe I didn't want this node, I only wanted this edge. I can go to remove and remove things from my selection. So I've got some tools like that that have a little bit of enhanced functionality. This would just delete a node. So let's say I don't really want this node anymore. Oh, what am I in? Oh, that's weird. Not sure why I can't select that node. That's working. Okay, let me select a node. Oh, I'm in the remove. I'm throwing myself off. Let's go back to normal mode. In fact, let me go to add because I don't want either of these nodes. So this and this. And let's remove the node. As you saw just a second ago, even though I don't think really what I was intending to show at the time, if I select multiple nodes, I can, or even, let's go also to edges. Oops. Well, this node, this edge, and this node. I can hide these things. So let me hide the edges, and I can hide the nodes, and then I can unhide everything. So that way I can focus on a part of the graph. And let's say I wanted to focus on like high priority tasks or something. So I could go to tools and let's see, I could search, and I could search for tags for like priority high. this one, and then maybe I want to take this, and I want to know what is everything that is blocking this. I could say focus upstream, and that gets rid of everything except for the nodes that are upstream from this node. So this is the only node that's blocking that. And then I could even take this and highlight it. And let me take this one and highlight it. And I guess I have these highlighting, okay, yeah, in yellow. So I could mark things on the graph in a highlight color. And then, yeah, I can go back over to this side and hit unhide all to see the rest of the graph again. And now I see, like, okay, these are the tasks that are blocking high priority tasks. Oh, distance edges is just a setting that you may find useful on occasion where the edges are actually just created based on the distance. So let me see if I add a node. It doesn't change anything until I move the node itself, but see, as soon as it's within a certain distance, the other nodes get connected to it. So it goes in a down left sort of direction. I'll show you with these two nodes. So if this one's sort of to the left or to the above this node, it'll point to it. And then if it is below or to the right, it'll get pointed to. Disconnect that one. There we go. So now this one points to that one. It could be handy if there's like a bunch of things you're swapping in and out. So like last time I had an example where there was some code and I wanted to swap things in and out. So like that's sitting there in the graph, and maybe I want to use this node now. So let's take this one out and put this one in. Okay. Or if I wanted to build a large graph, maybe I have a bunch of nodes, I can just move them around. I don't have to click to create all the edges. Let's see, I'll just get rid of all this stuff. Oh, and there's hotkeys for this too, so oops, I'm still on this distance edges. Let me go back to manual edges. And back to normal mode. Okay, and let's see, maybe I'll create a couple of nodes this way, just by using the hotkeys. And then if I want to get rid of them, I could select one and press D, and that deletes it. So, I can remove the highlights. So say that I'm done looking at which tasks are blocking high priority tasks, remove highlights, and did not work. Remove highlights. Oh, actually, I don't even think I have to select anything. Let me just, okay. Let's go back to something that's not going to create nodes every time I click. And we'll select that edge and highlight it. And then let me see, yeah, just remove highlights, and it removes them everywhere, whether they're selected or not. Okay, and then there's like some more advanced tools, as you saw, like I can search through things. It's like if I didn't know where task A was, I could put in task A from wherever and search through the titles. Oh, maybe that's too centered or something, I don't know. What about task C? There we go, yeah, it brings it to the center of the screen. I could search through the text or tags, or I could just step through all the nodes. So this one's just going to walk through every node, and if there's something I was looking for and I have no idea where it went. Let's see. So that's that. I can also scrape the whole thing. So I can scrape, including hidden. You can select these. I can scrape edges if I want them or not. Only the selected nodes, only certain nodes with various tags. Like for example, I could put priority high. Here's like the tag that I want, and then hit scrape, and then it gives me the task that's connected to this. But it doesn't give me any of the other. Wait, that seems to have given me. Is this not everything? This is. Oh, I didn't select that. Yeah, but I want to use that. Okay, so now let's scrape it. So it just gives me task C. That's the only text in this. Yeah, if I don't select any of these, it just is going to scrape everything. It will be in order for the connected components. So like task A will show up before B and C, but any component could show up before any other component if I don't give an order to it. I've got a tag manager here where I can select all the nodes with a particular tag. So I guess I'll put in like taco and hit select, and it's going to select every every node that's tag taco. In fact, which is the, I don't remember the hotkey for tags. So let me just do this. I'll put taco here. Okay, and then tools, tag manager, tag selection. Oops. Tag. So let's select. Oh, what am I doing? Tag taco. It's kind of late at night. I'm halfway asleep, I guess. Let's see. Okay, so the tag selection. Like, let's say that I grabbed all of these. Let's show the tags so that I can see whenever I do it. And then I'm going to go to the tag manager. And so now then I want these to have a tag of, I don't know, I'll put priority medium. And let's tag selection. Oh, how did I unselect everything? Priority medium. But anyway, this will tag everything that I have selected. So if I have a whole bunch of stuff selected, I can tag many things at once. Okay, and you can remove a particular tag on like everything you select. So all of these, if I didn't want that. Let's see what else. We've got style. So I can choose like this unselected, selected, and highlight colors for nodes and edges from this list. And then this, it says advanced tools, but it's doing things with the statuses like check all or uncheck all. You can append text. You can do a replace, like a find replace. So there's a few more advanced tools up here in these toolbars. Let's see. Then the last thing is there's like some functionality when you have things selected. There's not a whole lot with the edges. Mostly it's in the tool or the nodes of the graph. Let's see, so we could copy and you can use the internal edges, meaning like, so if I have these two nodes selected, then there's an edge between the selected nodes, that'd be internal or external edges. So like this edge is coming from one of my selected nodes, but it's going outside the selection. So that would be an external. And then I could link to the new nodes or link from the new nodes. So let's say I take the external edges, so that's going to also copy this edge, as well as two new nodes, and I will link from them. So the new nodes that are created are going to link to these nodes. And let me see if I then hit copy. If I paste it now, it's going to paste right on top of the node. So I haven't thought of an alternative way to do this besides just move the graph over a little bit, and then I can hit this paste button on this side. And see now it's pointing to those nodes that it copied, as well as it copied this external link, so it's also linked to this node. Let's see, and then we've got, what have I not covered? So info is useful because you can actually build tools onto these graphs now, and there's like, I guess kind of this API where you can build your own scripts and link the scripts and have them do things. And then this node ID gets passed in, as well as the node IDs of every node in the graph. So let's take a look at that. And those could be useful to pass in to the script. So let's see, yeah, script. I need script and graph link are two things that I haven't covered. So you have run input and set script. So if I go to set script, that's going to open up this, and I've got these scripts. I also have what I call a tool belt. If you see up here in the corner, I called it Graph Mason. I was thinking about changing the name to Graph Mason, like you're somebody who builds with graphs. But I'll just link to a script. So you can link to an executable as well. Now let me go to, I guess, table maker. I've got a PyDev, so you can actually run Python like I showed in the example last time. That's how you do it now. Instead of having to select all these edges and click buttons and stuff, you open this and you can just basically run Python from here. And I showed a picture of this on social media recently. click this again, and then Table Maker is actually going to do something right here in the graph, so let me do that. Let's see, you can also do it so that it outputs a website and opens the website. You can put it so it just opens a website or a file on your computer, which is something that I was having trouble doing through the web browser. It wouldn't like open a file or run a file locally on the computer. There's like path algorithms. So if like there were multiple ways to get a project done and you had them mapped out, you could see like which is the cheapest path. This API is not something that would be linked, but actually this is an example of the API. I don't know if I'll show that or not. So let's see, input for Table Maker. Right now I'm trying to think of a better way or some way to show the input. So I've got some ways, but they're not great. So in this case, you make a grid. So like a 3x2 would be 3 rows and 2 columns. Maybe I'll do 3x4 or something. Store that. And then whenever I run it, it's going to, from this node, create a 3x4 table of nodes. So that's bizarre. What happened? I think I just crashed the program. Huh. I wonder if there was something going on inside of the Py file. Maybe I need to use the executable for this because I did convert it to an executable at one point. Oh, well, that's what it's supposed to do. So it gives me a 3x4 grid. Let's see. That's interesting. So it's 3 columns and 4 rows. I probably have that backwards. But you can even do this. Let's see. So let me take this one, set the same script with the table maker. I'll take the input and make it like 30 by 40. It's thinking and thinking. Don't crash on me now. I thought I had done a much, much larger one than that. Not responding. Well, that's not going so well. See if I can close this. Just close the program out. I think you know what it would do if it worked. Yeah, just close the program. Okay, so let's run this again. Let's see, maybe I'll do an example, something simple. With like Python. So let's say like a equals 5, b equals 3. This can be like c equals a times b. And then we're going to do like print c. Okay, so kind of a meaningless little program here. Let's see what it looks like if I want to run it. So I can hit R for hotkey for run. I'm going to set the script. PyDev. And this one I don't think I need any input, so I should just be able to hit run. Yeah, it gives me the output 15. Okay, and then I can go to tools and hit, oops, not tag manager. I can go to tools and hit scrape if I want the program. I'll just scrape the whole thing, and there's my program. Oh yeah, there is an input. You can have it stored to a file. So if I wanted this to be like multiply.py or something, and I stored this and then I ran it, it would create a multiply.py file, which I don't really want to do. So let's do that, and let's see, initialize variables, perform operation. Let's get like a really complicated description here, and then print output. or something. I think those should automatically be commented. Yeah, okay, well, I guess I'll put multiply.py. I'll run it, 15, and now then if I go to here, should save it in the scripts maybe. There it is. There's a lot of programs, so yeah, these just show up as comments in the program on the titles. So, and I think in the last one I showed, you had to like actually manually try to comment everything. Now you don't have to do that. Let's see, and there's a similar thing with like doc type, HTML, head, body. Let's see, h1, hello. And then I'll go with close the body, close HTML. I'll just put close body contents and initialize. And now we'll change this from PyDev to WebDev and run this. And that should just open that in the browser, whatever I made. Oh, I don't want MSN. Well, maybe if I have the browser open, can it now open this? Why is it opening MSN? Okay, well, I'm having some weird bugs. I thought this was programmed to open in Chrome. I wonder, this is just kind of weird. Oh. That's okay. Let's say if I wanted to do open file, then all I would do is go to whatever file I wanted to open. Let's just find something, I guess. Yeah, I could open itself. Let me go, oops, I want to open it. So let's go back to this. I'll just find a file. Here we go. So I'm going to put this path. I am on my junky computer that I'm not used to. I don't know if that's going to copy the whole path or it's just going to copy desktop. That's annoying. Okay, I want the whole path, I think. Actually, yeah, I probably need to actually put the whole path. Yeah, okay. I don't know what is. Let me see if I just go to properties. There we go. I want the location. circud.html. Okay, now if I run this, it just opens up whatever this program is. Let's see, so I guess we could use maybe one of those to look at an example, but I'd have to navigate to this, so let's see. Scripts. So if we go to this like WebDev, you see it actually passes in all this data. So we get the graph data, the node ID that's running it, any nodes that are selected, because those could be used highlighted nodes, edges that are selected, edges that are highlighted, and the user input. And then there's that Graph Mason API, and that return the graph data as like an object whenever you pass in the graph data that's sent in. So now you have an object, and then it can run the code and use just your basic graph theory to do things. And I had some documentation written up. I actually might have lost it because I had it on a website that might have been deleted. But I could rewrite the documentation, and you could actually, like, anyone could develop for this. Now that I have this one open, the web dev, I guess it doesn't open web browser. Yeah, okay. Open on a new tab, but it doesn't have Chrome, so that's okay. Let's see, and swap edges was something else. I think in my last example I had like two different algorithms that could run, or two different styles, and it was based on, like, on the left you could make different choices of which edges are going to be included with all these checkboxes or something, and that's kind of annoying. So it was like, this is kind of body contents 1, and this would be body contents 2. And well, anyway, I guess I don't need to go through what it was before necessarily, but what it does now is you can actually swap edges. So I think I click this one and swap edges, and I click another one. I just have to go the other way. This one, swap edges, and that will send all the edges. Yeah, there we go, to this one. So it sort of swaps it out without having to make you make all these choices in the checkboxes every time. Especially because the programs get more complicated. Oh, I just remembered something now that I'm talking about the programming too. So let's go back to PyDev. Let's say that I was doing something with loops. This is what I posted a picture of not that long ago. So let's say I equals 0, and I want to do a while loop, like while I is less than 5. Then I could try to tab over, but maybe I want to print if I is bigger than 2 or something. So if I is greater than 2, and let's say that in the next box I want to put the print, then I've got to tab over twice, like print I. And of course it's just weird because it's got all these tabs, and it's really hard to keep track when they're in different boxes. So what I did was I made it possible so you can just put these little arrows, and this means to tab once, and this means to like tab again, and then this I don't have to worry about tabbing it over, because that's weird, but there's still the issue you have to like know to tab twice back, I guess, if you wanted to. Oops. Then put like print done or something. And then let's see, I should be able to run this. Oh no, I guess I messed something up. Shouldn't take that long. Oh, I didn't increment I. Okay. Yep, you're in an infinite loop. Let's just close that. Okay. So that clears up a lot of the tabs. Like in a language like JavaScript, of course, you wouldn't have to worry about that, but for Python, that gets pretty annoying. So let's say I equals 0. So be like while I is less than 5. Let's do I equals I plus 1, so we don't. If I is bigger than 2, we're going to print I, and then we will print done. Okay, and now then if I gotta run this, so let's set this script to pydev and run. Come on, I'm not in an infinite loop, am I? It's having some kind of error. Don't know what that is. Oops, I closed the whole thing. Well, this has been definitely a buggy session. I haven't had this many bugs with that one recently. That's been a pretty stable version, but I am working on a newer version to improve the UI. So maybe I'll show that real quick. Let's see, what was it? I made one called Melnodius. Okay, so I'm working on the graphics. These buttons are just placeholders, but as you can see, the nodes have more interesting graphics. And then if I click it to select it, it's probably spinning a little too fast, but it spins around. If I unclick it, slows down and fades out. And then if I want to connect by an arrow, it's animated, so it kind of zips over. But I am having to use some different Python packages to accomplish this. So I'm basically going to have to reprogram it again if I want it to have some slicker graphics. Then you click on the bottom or top parts to open up these things. So now then the title would be here. So this is my title, and here's the text. And then I get this is my title. And then I haven't programmed the top one, but the top one would be something like where you set the script. Oh, and I totally forgot the last thing. So let me go back to this one more time. See if I have any that I can open. I think I just deleted a bunch of stuff. Here's my saves. Okay. Chart PDF open. Let's see. I don't have the script set. That's interesting. Well, anyway, I did have this where it actually generated like a chart of data, but I just wanted to make sure I had something saved. So what I can do is, like if I wanted to link from one graph to another, I can go to graph link and then click this, and I can actually set it to another graph. So let me go back to the saved graphs, like the one where I was maybe testing the cheapest path, and open that up. And then I can follow the link and it will actually go straight to that graph. Oh, I was updating how the saving and loading functions, and I think it messed up maybe how the scripts are loaded, because it looks like this isn't loaded either. It wants me to set the script. Let's see, but this one, I thought it was mod graph, link to node, cheapest path. Be that one. So it highlights the cheapest path. Cheapest path is $10. So we had 1, 5, and 4, so that's $10, and this one is $30. That's interesting to have. Yeah, it stores the input. So how does it know where to put the cheapest path to, I guess is the question. And you go to info and it's like, well, I can use this node ID. And then put that in the input. Now if I go to this node and take its node ID, then I'll get a different answer. Because now it's going to find the cheapest path in this node, and there's only one path. So let me just remove the highlights just in case. And then for my input, I'm going to find the cheapest path to that node, and then run. Oh my gosh, what is going on? This has an error. I did not have all these errors before in these programs whenever I was testing them. Well, it's a work in progress, and I guess that's happened sometimes. I'll have to figure out why all my programs are erroring out at the moment. Can I even go back to this one now, or is it just messed up? Oh, frustrating. Okay, well, for some reason, we'll find the cheapest spots at that, but not this. Okay, so let's see. If I wanted to, I could now graph this back to the other one, which was the chart one. And see, it's still got this follow link, and now then I can go back and forth. Oops. Oh. Let's see, follow link. So now I can go to this graph and follow link and go back. Oh, it's supposed to autosave too. Okay, I'm having way more bugs than I ever imagined. Okay, come on. This, maybe I'll just go ahead and save it. Okay, follow link, because this one's saved. Follow link. There we go. So now I can bounce around between different graphs too. So you can link all your graphs up, and I could even just create nodes. It's like a link node, if that's all I wanted it to do. Just say over here, I don't even need a title. I'll just create another graph link. And maybe this goes to, I guess whatever test is, I have no idea. Let's follow the link. Oh, I was testing these boxes. By the way, these boxes, you can actually edit them just by pulling them on the edge if you need to resize. I think this ended up being a mistake here, but I think I fixed it so it can't do that. If you get it so small, you can't click on it anymore. Uh-oh. Maybe I didn't fix it. So if you do that, then that has trouble. Yeah, you can't really click it again. Oh, maybe you can. Maybe that's how I fixed it. Now I can't get that one. Well, there's infinite bugs. That's why it looks like I make very little progress. But I think the UI is a lot better, and now then it can run any kind of Python program. So if you needed to print like 10 reports from an Excel file, you could just create a node that does that, and then you would just run that script every time. You just have to go into it and hit run. And if it's part of a process, you could have, this is the process where you input certain numbers, and this is the process where you run, where you have to print all the documents, and then of course you can have like a checkbox, and once you've finished it, like you hit run, and it prints the 10 documents, and you check it off because it's done, and you go to the next thing, and I don't think you have the option to run anything here. Oh, yeah, no. But I'm working on that new UI, so I don't think I'm going to build that into this. Anything else that's new? I think that's all the new stuff that I have. I have a previous video on some of the other functionality. I mean, I guess there's more like options to focus upstream, downstream. Things you can just hide things. It's like if I wanted to hide this node, it hides it and everything connected to it. That way you can focus on certain parts of the graph if you want, and then you just unhide all whenever you're ready to bring it back. Yeah, so gradually more functionality. I'll have to combine some things. I want to program some a script so that you can actually do like pandas data frames and run your data through these. So you could just build scripts that like one of these is to drop columns or something. So this would be like your drop columns. And then your input might have the column names, like call one, call two, or something. But then, of course, you could just always grab this and copy it, and then move over a little bit and paste, and then you could go stick this in somewhere else if you needed to, and just change the columns. And I could list it here in the title so that we know what I'm dropping. So like maybe drop AB or something. And so that way you don't have to like memorize all the. I mean, it would be like just an easier visual editor, especially if somebody doesn't even know the Python. Maybe they could just learn like, okay, you put a drop where the script is like this drop or something, and or actually it wouldn't even be in that script. It would be in the script linked to the root node. Let's think of some other interesting things. So I also want to be able to like collapse a section of the graph. So you could take like a section and then hit collapse, and it gets represented by one single node. Then you explode it back out, and then the graph blows back up. So that way, if you have a big complicated graph, you can reduce it down to different nodes. I mean, I guess the idea behind these boxes is to sort of accomplish that. Like you can organize it into like, okay, this section is doing something. And then also the zoom kind of accomplishes that a little bit. So like, okay, these are sort of out of the way when I'm not using them. But it might be nice to collapse it all down into like one node that's like, okay, this does task A. And then if you need to see all the different steps in task A, you explode it. And you can see all the different tasks. I guess also kind of the linking to the graphs accomplishes something similar. Because it could be, this is task A, and if you want to see all the steps, follow the link, and you go to the task, and it's on that graph only the steps for task A. Opposite just means to select the opposite. So if I wanted to select all the nodes except this one, I could click this one and then hit opposite, and I could select all the nodes that way. Let's see, all these are selected. What was the other thing that I was thinking about doing? I don't know. I've got quite a few ideas. I mean, of course, in the new UI, I want to be able to change these to any kind of picture or icon if you want to set them. So you could set different colors for things like high priority, but if you're making an org chart, you could set them to pictures of employees or something. So you could build out an org chart. I also want to use like Bezier curves for the edges, possibly so that you can draw nicer looking graphs with curved edges that maybe go around other parts of the graphs or nodes. Oh yeah, operations. That's what I was thinking of. I wouldn't mind being able to do something like, well, let's see. Here's one trick you can do. So if I do opposite, I can just delete everything. Now then, and I can just click these to delete them. So I get my blank graph again. I can just draw out a graph. Real quick here. So I wouldn't mind being able to do something like 4, 3 plus, I don't know, like times 2 or something. And then it computes it all for you. Oops. So this will take like 4 and 3 and then add them to 7 and then take that result and multiply by 2 and get 14. And the original one, I also had circuits. So you could come up with like, you could build out ALUs. This is like when I say original, I'm going back several versions. And maybe having it even have like a, like ohms and voltages and stuff and having it compute across these. So you could build out little circuits with these things. Anyway, just a few ideas to come. I guess I'm going to stop talking now. I have too many ideas for this stuff. Who knows when I'll ever get to it all.